Hey, what's going on? Periscope, Keith B. Dixon, it's official. You are officially in the Kilo Bravo Delta zone, and my name is Keith B. Dixon. Tonight, you guys, I'm going to share some images with you that a photographer in my one-on-one mentoring program made, and we're going to talk about the energy behind the images. We're going to talk about the thought process, the photography behind it. So this is going to give you an idea of maybe how you're going to approach your photography, and specifically street photography. So welcome to the Kilo Bravo Delta Zone. It's official, you guys. We're going to be on here probably I'd say about 45 minutes or so. I won't keep you long. We're going to run through some information and get you fed mentally, photography fed. Let's go. Thank you for tuning in. If you're brand new, be sure to put your first name in. And if you see me looking off to the sides here, I'm doing a dual broadcast onto YouTube Live. So if you're a YouTuber, you can definitely catch me on YouTube. And if you've got that whole TV setup or Hulu or whatever you're using, I got to tell you, it's a great feature. You can also subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. And then I'm also broadcasting on Facebook. And then later on tonight, I'm going to rebroadcast this entire broadcast on Facebook Live so we can talk to people over in the UK. There we go. Okay, so that'll be the late night show. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for the hearts. What's the heart count? Last I checked, it was 14 million seven, so 14.7 million hearts. You guys, you gotta love that. Thank you so much as a community. You guys are great. And by the way, if you're not familiar with this particular photography community, this is the Bomb Squad community, and our reunion, our family reunion. Did I say family reunion? Our photography conference is Exposure 101 Detroit. You guys, we just had it, so if you missed it, you missed out on something spectacular. Quit playing, right? If you want to find us virtually online, all you got to do is a hashtag search. Use hashtag Bomb Squad in a group search and do a request to join. There it is right there. And we're going to be bringing the rear up on the Bomb Squad community and making some changes and introducing some new things and benefits that will definitely get you guys going. So if you're watching on either platform, YouTube or Periscope, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And this Saturday is critical, you guys. This Saturday is ultra critical. We got the 90 PT jumping off at 9 a.m. And we're going to talk about something as it relates to marketing, sales, business, social media, lighting, or education, photography education. I guarantee you it will be mind-blowing. The course is $290 a year. $290 a year, and it's a 12-month subscription. And I got to tell you, if you know anybody in the program, Cheryl, tonight I'm going to be talking about Cheryl Kimbrough. She's a photographer out of Detroit, and she's also in my one-on-one program. And I got to tell you, the progression has been tremendous for her. I'm going to show you why. We're going to talk about it. We're going to dive in deep. We're going to get a little esoteric. We're going to get abstract. We're going to do all that stuff. We're going to talk about the if, when, and why. This is how we're going to do it. So she is a product of these programs. And I got to tell you, for the most part, it's not for everybody. I'll be the first one to tell you, my goal is not to sign up everybody. My goal is to sign up the right people. So that's what I'm looking for in 90PT. And you can find 90PT. I messed this up the last time, but I got it today, you guys. Workshops.keithbdixon.online is where you can find me. And it's real simple. Workshops.keithbdixon.online. I'm going to put that up on the screen in just a second. Here's what the site looks like. If you Google that in, it'll take you here. You can sign up for the 90PT. And there's only one portion of the 90PT open right now, and that's the Blue Train. You got to pay $290 in advance, and it's a 12-month subscription. And I also will give you access to calling and asking questions and going through the whole routine. Now, not a lot of time, but if you need some help, I'm definitely there. Here's the link right here that you can use to find me online, workshops.keithbdixon.online. And there it is. All right, fantastic. Whew, that was a lot, huh? Was that a lot, you guys? That was a lot. So look, You guys know I do a podcast as well. I'm doing a lot. I'm trying to make this happen in a big way, you guys. So I'm doing a lot, and whatever doesn't work, we just abandon. We go on to the next thing. This podcast, podcast.keithbdixon.online, is working out beautifully. The downloads are incredible. And I haven't uploaded Matthew's interview because I think Terrell's could do a little better. It's still it's doesn't have as many downloads as the low hanging fruit, you guys. But I'm just trying to push it there, and that's all. This is an important interview, and I want you guys to really take advantage of it. So let's get a couple more downloads on this, like a couple more hundred. I don't know. I want these guys to shine. I want them to be heard. So let's do what we do. All right. And last, I always like to go through, a couple ads and do a couple advertisements, mostly for the community. I'm wearing one right now. Here it is, right here, Bomb Squad Red, the Bomb Squad T-shirt. You guys, it is definitely one of my favorite T-shirts. And then we have our gray, our middle gray. So you guys, we keep it real photography around here. The middle gray T-shirt, white balance. There it is, right there. And we have limited sizes left on these shirts, you guys. And then we are going into the next edition. We're going to retire these out, and we may not offer them again. So the red, definitely, we may not offer again for a while because it is a limited edition shirt. There it is, right there. Okay. Does that sound cool? Does that sound cool? Let me see before we move on, you guys. Let me see who is in the broadcast tonight. And let me do names and locations, and then we're gonna move on to the main topic of tonight. We're gonna talk about Cheryl Kimbrough tonight. She is a student in the program, and she's shooting some great images. So we're gonna talk about her tonight. Let me see names and locations before we go on. Names and locations, you guys. Let's do this. There she is, Miss Cheryl from Detroit. What up, though? Commander Amber, what up, though? Captain Joe, what up, though? Marilyn Deb Davis from Detroit, what up, though? Yes, there he is. Captain JJ all day. Let's go, Captain Lamar, my scope homie, partner in crime on the scope, Commander Mike. What's up? We got to do some double ups for Commander Mike. There he is. Dr. Walter Sims. Katrina, what up, though? Yes, we are so excited, you guys. Tonight is going to be definitely eye-opening, you guys. You're going to see what people are experiencing in my one-on-one program and what they're experiencing in the 90PT. I'm going to give it to you as if they were submitting these images, you guys. So, by the way, let me show this really quick before I continue on. Here's our Bomb Squad community right here. And just in case you're looking for it, here's the Bomb Squad community. It'll take you a minute to kind of get through all the postings and reading. There's some good stuff in here. Dr. Walter Sims, he's doing a self project, and I think projects are really important. And this is how he's learning to shoot and tell stories, you guys. He's pretty consistent with it too. So he's posting. He's in Dallas right now, and he's posting up his. And then we've got Tim Smith. He's posting images, looks like a frame within a frame. So we've got all kind of stuff on it. Real interesting stuff, real interesting comments. There's another post from Dr. Walter Sims. So there it is. I know that, and Deb posted this. This is really important, you guys. And this is something that it applies to everything in photography. Cost, purpose, understanding, application, and profitability is something. If you abide by those 5 standards, you're going to make better photography decisions about what you do. And when you get ethered up and you start thinking to yourself, you know what, I'm just going to buy everything under the sun, right? You're going to go right to those 5 points, and then you're going to back off. So keep that in mind. All right, let's dive into this. Let's dive into our topic tonight. And I'm going to pause for questions along the way. Here's what I want you to see. What is the mentoring program about? What is it producing? I'm real big on, hey, can you sell me a program, and can you show me some viable, measurable results? Can that be replicated? That's what a program is really about, you guys. So tonight we're going to talk about that. And I want to introduce you to a photographer that's in my program. You guys may have met Cheryl at the Bomb Squad. Throw in a Wi Fi if you know who Cheryl Kimbrough is. Throw in a Wi Fi if you know who Cheryl Kimbrough is. Put up a Wi Fi really quick. hmm All right. So let's share some images with you, and I'm gonna tell her story as far as it relates to her images. Okay, so here's an image she made, and you're probably looking at it and be like, "What the heck is that? Some type of fisheye lens? What's going on there?" Well, the thing that I want you to know about this particular image is it's actually a reflection image. I call it technique stacking. Now, look, when you're in the program, your goal is to accomplish the technique, to complete it, shoot it, accomplish it, finish it. That's your number one goal in the program. And anything that you make, can you shoot a reflection shot? Can you make? Can you technique stack while you're doing it? And this is exactly what she did. So this image is actually upside down, but I just rotated it. So it was actually photographed upside down, and it is a total reflection, you guys. So she's shooting in a style that creates not only ambiguity, but gets you thinking about what exactly is going on here in terms of the framing. Can you guys see that this is a reflection? Can you see that? So it's actually the original image is upside down, and this is something, as photographers we lie a lot in the way that we visualize things to other people. We might do digital edits, we might rotate the image like this, we might add something to it. This is what we do as photographers. So you learn technique stacking here. And there's three techniques: one, the rotation of the image; two, the reflection; and three, watch this, you guys. And three, making it abstract. Those are all techniques, abstract images. Is this making sense for you? Let's give Cheryl a hand. I want you guys to give her a hand, because this is it's not about the wow factor. It's really about, can you execute a set of instructions that lead to something? And you're going to see a consistency in her work. Let's give Cheryl a hand. Just drop in a hand, you guys, and say, "Cheryl, we're gonna pump you up. We're gonna clap, whatever, to drop some bombs for her, because she has really progressed. She was not seeing like this before. Now, this is actually one of my favorite images, and this really kind of caught my eye. And here's what I want to tell you guys. When I'm looking at your images, I'm not looking at your images as if you're going to enter them in a print competition and score an 80 tomorrow. That's not how I look at them. I look at your images according to the potential of where it could go based on one or two techniques. That's literally what I'm looking for. Is it compositionally correct? That's a technique. Is it exposed correctly? You know what? If you've hit those two, you are successful, but you're not going to be progressive at that point. You're just being successful in executing those techniques. Now, here's another image. This is actually one of my favorites, you guys. I got to tell you, and I just want you to marinate on it for a while. When I first thought of this image, I thought of Brezin. I thought of Brezin, the godfather of street photography, Henry Cartier Brezin, and I just, because he shot such odd images in the street. And when I saw this, I saw just a huge contradiction. Who is going to be smiling as birds are flying overhead? Well, this is where your mind kind of plays tricks on you, because the birds aren't actually flying over the people's heads, they're flying in the background. But because images appear two-dimensional, it's giving us that two-dimensional conflicted feel of the birds flying over the people's head. And if you look at the people in the front of the image, this image is almost timeless in its context, because you can't really tell, because of the way that people are dressed, what year this was photographed in. Matter of fact, I could make something up and say this was photographed in the late 80s. Now, unless you're a fashionista, or you understand, just the textures of photos, you're not going to be able to pick that up. I mean, it's an easy sell. And this is what I liked about this particular photo. There's a lot of negative space there, which offsets the crowdy and the business, the busyness of the photo. There's compositional value there. For me, this photo it was a classic tell. Are you guys seeing it the same way? What do you see? Put in one word that you see in the photo. Use one word. What's up? Joe is on the YouTube side. Put in one word that describes this photo to you. One word that describes this photo to you. I want you to put it in. Let's go. If you're just tuning in, my name is Keith B. Dixon. This is the Kilo Bravo Delta Zone official, 7:05 Pacific Standard Time. This is how we rock in the Kilo Bravo Delta Zone, you guys, all day. All day, every day. Dual broadcasting to Periscope. That's a Twitter product, you guys. And YouTube. So I'm not seeing any comments. I'm going to assume that there's, something going on. But you guys put in your comments. Sometimes they just pop up really fast. Family. Yeah, Hitchcock. There you go. Yep. It is. Happiness. I love that. Family. Community. Lively. It is. It's a contrasting lively. Docking. Those. I'm gonna throw LaFaithia text me, you guys, and ask me about stock photos. You see all of these all these words that are going into this photo. Imagine those words being your keywords to your stock photo. Now, I'm going to tell you, this photo has a lot of potential because you see that negative space up there? People always say, the negative space, the negative space. But you know what? That is a designer's dream, because you can lay text across the top. You can do all sorts of things with this photo. It is very versatile, right? There it is. So keep that in mind. I'm going to show you some other examples as we move along. So that's what makes that white space versatile, because we can drop in text or other photos or other things. We can create a collage from that. For me, this is going to be a timeless photo that Cheryl Kimbrough should definitely hang on to. Is that making sense for you guys? Put in, let's go 2.2. 2.2 if you're saying to yourself, wow, Cheryl, very interesting. 2.2, let's go. All right. Now, this next photo, you guys, that I'm going to show you was super. I looked at it for a while. And there's a lot going on in this particular photo in terms of it being symbolic. This next photo, I want to show it to you guys. Here it is. Okay. Now, you guys know I live in California, and in California we have a lot of not only gender I'm going to say gender-based identities. It's just all across the board here in California. San Francisco is, they like to say, the gay capital of the world, and or of, at least of the United States. And this is where we live. So, in being from San Francisco, I'm native to San Francisco. I've been here my whole life. When I first saw this picture, I assumed that the taller person was a man with a wig on, because of the definition in the legs. The person's much taller. They're engaged. And then if you've been to Venice Beach, this is the kind of stuff that you see. So I automatically assumed that, and that's what caught my attention with this photo. And I was like, you know what? I really like this photo because it represents not only the state of California and our liberalism and our openness to accept people as they are, but it filled the frame. I want you guys to look at the arrow, right? We're going forward with our identity. No matter what, no matter how you see it. And I'm interpreting this photo, I'm deconstructing it in my mind. No matter how we're moving forward, right? Whether you can see us or not, this is how I'm interpreting this. And if I was at a show, this is exactly what I would do. I would say, wow, that they're really making a statement here about gender. It's, you know what, we can't make a judgment about it. And then you see the guy in the forefront, in the arm in the background. So that's what this photo meant to me, you guys. Give me, I want you to give me one word that describes this photo for you. One word, put it in. We're going to slow down we're going to put the brakes on, and I want you to put in one word that describes this for you. And Cheryl, you should be taking notes. The stride, the power in the stride, yes. Connected, carefree, yes. hmm Togetherness. Now, by the way, these are two ladies in the photo. Classic, love. You see these words that are popping out? And I like the fact that Cheryl has used a lot of negative space in these particular images. Movement, uniform movement. Because guess what? That's one of the things we study in our program is movement. Freeze it or show motion, right? We can freeze motion, or we can slow down our shutter speed and induce, blurring to create motion. Cheryl chose to freeze motion so that we could get a detailed look at these people. She was ambiguous here. She was ambiguous in the way that she shot this photo, because she could have shot it the other way, showing their face, but it was better this way. Because guess what? We're showing their backs. Is this making sense? Is this making sense for you guys? If this is that scope that has got you thinking, I want you to put in one word that describes all the information that you are receiving right now. I want you to put in one word that describes it, you guys. Let's go. One word. One word that describes what you are seeing right now. Let's go. And how you're interpreting this information. Mm-hmm. Yep. If you guys are just tuning in, Keith B. Dixon, commercial photographer, all day, every day. One of the things I like to do as a hobby in photography is shoot landscapes and street photography. I actually teach a process called a creative zone, and this is the way we enter the creative zone. This is the type of work that's coming out of the creative zone. Thank you. All right, now, when I saw this next image, I thought of so many possibilities, you guys. Yes, freedom. I was hoping someone would put that in there. Freedom. It totally represents California. Now, this next image, I thought about a lot of possibilities, but what I thought about was the contrast, you guys. And I want you to look at this image that's coming up right now, and I want you to think about the contrast here, the conflict. This is what captured my attention with this. It's conflicted. Because what do we know California to be? When people describe California, what do they always say? No one's in the water. There it is. No one's in the water. And how do we always describe California as sunny California, right? Sunny California. But look at the people. It's almost scary. Matter of fact, I would go in and take all the people out of the water and show them just standing there on the edge to really confuse people. How could that many people be at the beach on a cold, foggy day? So Cheryl, there it is. I didn't want to tell you that in the mentoring session, but one of the other variations of this image is to remove all the people and have them standing there, and then you can create the story or the narrative any kind of way that you want. That's what's amazing about photography, is we can make up the narrative, the verbal narrative. We can describe this any way that we want, or we can let it be interpreted. It's really up to you. But that's what makes really good images, is when people are able to make their stories up about them. And then you look at the image and you're like, I could see that. Imagine this, you guys. Imagine if I put this image up and I said, you know what? All those people were standing there because they had a shark report. And I took all the little heads out of the water. They had a shark reported sighting, and that's why all the people standing there. People are going to believe me because that's what we see in the photograph, people standing on the edge of the beach. Cheryl, was there any sharks in the water at all? Were there any sharks in the water? I just want to make sure. Okay. Now, separate yourself from the crowd. Take a step forward. Yep, she was standing. It was like she was standing there over them. Oh, there was. So Cheryl, there was a shark sighting. Wow. Okay. Now, here's what I would do with a photo like this. I'm gonna fast forward. And I typically don't like to do this, but I'm gonna say this is what I would do. Not only would um, I archive this photo, but I would actually go back to the same location on a nice day and photograph this scene with a tilt shift lens because it's going to make the people even more miniature. Now, this was a good lens choice, a good focusing selection. Everything here I think is great. Look at the line or the horizon line in the background. It runs right through the thirds because I tested the composition. The matter of fact, there's a driving line that's going through the right third intersection, you guys. So even if you didn't like the photo, you didn't get it, the composition is going to pull you in. You can't lose. See, when you follow rules, right, people pay attention. They may not follow the rules, but at least they pay attention. It does have a miniaturing effect, and that also caught my eye because I shoot a lot of images that way myself. Now, I'm gonna this next image that I got coming up, you guys, was really interesting to me because I'm gonna tell you my frame of reference for this image is actually Fear of the Living Dead. It's a TV show that comes on AMC, Fear of the Living Dead, Fear of the Walking Living Dead, or whatever the title is. And there's a scene where they're basically living out of this hotel that's near the beach, and that's what this image reminded me of when I first saw it. So immediately I was attracted to it, and the treatment of the black and white treatment that it has on it brought me even closer to it. Fear of the Walking Dead. Yep. Fear of the Walking Dead, and that's what I thought about when I saw this image. The other thing and then I started drilling it down from a context standpoint, and I started saying to myself, you know what if they tear those buildings down and put up something better? Who's going to have the picture of the original buildings or the original location? That's why the archive is really important, you guys. Yes, definitely one of my shows. And if you've seen that episode of The Walking Dead, Fear of the Walking Dead, you know the episodes that I'm talking about when they're staying at the hotel, and then you look over at that photo and you be like, was that actually the hotel that was featured in that show? Mm-hmm. If this is making sense, to you guys, I want you to put in a Wi-Fi for me right now. You know what's funny? Sometimes we just don't know how good our work really is because we can't see it. We're looking at it so subjectively and so objectively, mostly in the bad way. How do you guys think Cheryl's doing here? How do you think Cheryl's doing? When you look at these images, would you say that this was professional work? Would you say that this was professional? I want you guys to be honest with me. Hey, you know what? This is the scope where we lay it all on the line. Like, how would you describe her work? Let's go. Mm-hmm. So Cheryl, these are people's opinions about your work. See, we're seeing it as a body, we're seeing it as a collection. It has far more impact because now it's in a storytelling mode. And that's the importance of doing gallery showings. When your work is up as a whole, people really get a feel for who you are as a collective. Yes, Commander Mike said progressing. He didn't even say successful. He blew past that and said progressing. Whew, that's a big compliment coming from a technical photographer. Oh, look at that. Captain Joe says consistent. Now, look, I want to share something with you guys. Tells a great story, right? What up, though, Detroit, right? Here's what I want to tell you guys. And sometimes you have to be a good photographer and a great editor. That's the problem that a lot of photographers have. They're great photographers, but they're not great editors. And you have to be able to edit your work. The only way that's going to happen is through study. That's the only way. I'm just keeping it real with you. Some photographers can't edit their work, they hire people to do it. And then you kind of lose control. And that's why I don't like to hire out editors for my work, because you lose control of who you are, because they're now telling you who you are based on what you created, but that might not be where you want to go. Maybe it was a mistake. You shot that image, you didn't like it, you didn't like the way it made you feel, you don't want to do it, but someone else likes it. Hey, put that out there, it's going to make $1,000,000 and you do it, but you're not really connected to it. It's like you birthed something and you're not really connected by the umbilical cord. It doesn't feel good. I want to be able to pick out my images and say, hey world, this is me. I'm going to keep it real with you. That's like if I was a musician, I would have to write my own songs. It would be hard for me to sing someone else's song because I just wouldn't sing it the way that they would probably want to sing it. Where do you start studying for editing? I'm going to say go back to the history of photography and its origin and study things like camera obscura, paintings, artwork. You don't got to get all deep into it. You just got to understand it. Like, what does camera obscura really mean? What did the Impressionists mean to photography? Why was Edward Weston crucial to photographies and galleries? What significant part did Edward Weston play? Who is Alfred Stieglitz? Henry Cartier-Bresson? Who are these guys? Why were they significant to street photography? Let's fast forward. Who was Monty Zucker? I guarantee you a lot of wedding photographers out there do not even know or have a clue who Monty Zucker is. He's the godfather of wedding photography and lighting. When you start to really understand who these photographers are, it's going to influence you in a way that you've never felt or seen before. And that's what's going to give you that edge and that difference in finding your style. I hope that helps you guys. Monty Zucker, yes. Okay, now this next image, you guys, I got to tell you, this is the first image I saw when Cheryl submitted her assignments, and I got to tell you, it really kind of rocked my world a little bit. Now, I didn't tell Cheryl this on the phone when I was talking to her, but it kind of rocked my world because this image is so classic that I'm going to put it on and we're going to do some dead air. Give me one word to describe the feeling of this image. One word, you guys. One word. Let's go. Thank you, Joe. Captain JJ says outstanding. Mystical. You guys, I want you to tell me about this image now. Mystical, just put in words and comments. Isolated, carefree, innocent, isolation. Isn't that a trip? It makes you think, where's this boy's parents at? Look at the two guys in the background. Look at the repeating patterns, not only with the water, but with the umbrellas in the back. Look at the stairway that goes in and out of the picture. Usually we want the stairway to end in the middle of the picture. That's a painter's technique. But you know what? The stairs go in and out. I thought that was so clever, as to say that the path that we're on in this photo is not as important as that little boy standing there isolated. You see how I'm reading through this photo? Those guys in the background, that is the beginning. The boy is the beginning. Those guys in the end are the end. Yes. It is cleverly ran through the third. You guys, these are techniques that I teach. One, I like to call this one stalking because it just gets people's attention, right? But the technical term for it is working a position or an angle. But sometimes we have to stalk out our shot. We got to wait for it to develop. You just sit there and you wait. That's part of photography. It's like fishing. You sit there and you wait for it to develop. You see something that catches your eye and you just start watching it and snapping images based on what you see. I call that being outward focused. Your camera is so unimportant. Yes, she is cap. Thank you, Mike. Human condition. This is all about people. There is, if I didn't know this photographer, I didn't know anything about them, I would know that they understood photography. I'm just saying, this person understands photography. We don't critique these kind of images unless they just don't work. We're at a stage here where we're starting to deconstruct what was in the photographer's mind at the time. That's where this becomes important. If I can't do that because I'm roadblocked by compositional value, a lack of it, or a lack of interest or no context, then we can't get to the fun, the part that's the most fun. It's not talking about what's wrong with the image. It's talking about what the photographer was thinking, what the image means in the context of the community that it was photographed in or the environment that it was photographed in. That's where the fun starts. That's where we start to drill it down, baby. That's where the oil in the water starts to mix. I'm sorry. I get so riled up and passionate about photography. I just love it, you guys. Matter of fact, I think I got some darkroom chemicals running through my veins right now. I really do. I get excited about photography. It takes me to another place. And when I see work like this, the treatment of the work, the darkest darks, the lightest lights, it's touching everything in grayscale. The boy is so unassuming. It's a powerful feeling. Now, in this next image, you guys, this was part of an assignment, and the goal was, remember I talked about stalking or working a situation? I premeditated a shot right here, and it almost happened. It almost happened perfectly after about an hour. Now, if I would have stood there, I would have got it, but I had walked away, and then when I walked over and started talking about it again, it developed. But here's my premeditation on this shot, you guys. Here it is right here. So we're at Campus Marshes right here in Detroit. This is downtown Detroit. And on my photo walk, I said, look, let's premeditate our shot right now. Let's premeditate our shot right now. Let's send out what we want to the camera gods, and when they're ready, they're going to send it back. And I said, what I want to see is a person coming out and a person going in, a single person. Matter of fact, it would be great if I could have a tall person and a short person, like a little kid, and the person holding that little kid's hand, and then they're going in, and the person going. I literally premeditated that, and it actually happened. I just wasn't there, at the time that it happened. But we turned around and we saw it. It was amazing. So this is Cheryl exercising, you guys, her photographic creativity here. Exposure, people walking in. Look at the two girls that look almost identical with the sweaters on. The person walking out. So this is an exercise. This is a photo exercise, and this is Cheryl executing it right here. Is this making sense for you guys? Let me pause for a second. Thank you, Joseph, for commenting on the YouTube side. I appreciate it, you guys. I'm doing a dual broadcast. If you're watching me on YouTube, I'm doing a dual broadcast right now simultaneously to YouTube and Periscope, you guys. The dichotomy of opposites, absolutely. Is this making sense? So all I'm doing is, in the creative zone, what we do is we incorporate principles of design so that visually everything that you see is appealing to you, whether you like it or not. We are going to hammer you home on compositional and rules, so people can't argue with that. And then it becomes a test of, do you like the context of the photo? Isn't this powerful stuff? Cheryl, are you still on the broadcast? If you are, I want you to put in the number of years you've been making photographs. Number of years you've been making photographs if you're still on the broadcast. Number of years you've been making photographs. All right. Keith B. Dixon, commercial photographer, you guys. I'm talking about the 90 PT program and what people are pulling out of it. I'm talking about 5 years. There it is right there. She's been at it 5 years. And she's in my one-on-one mentoring program. And the thing that I want you to know, that it is not a cheap program, right? It is an expensive program. It's time-consuming. Shannon's on the scope right now. She's also in there as well. And if you go back and look at the beginnings of their work, and then you look at where it is now, that's where the rubber meets the road. You know, this is why people do what they do. It is different than anything you will ever do in your photography career because it's me and I'm different. All right. So, of course, we always like to do the macro and micro approach to street photography. Shannon said, Shannon said, don't look at her old work. Yeah. So seriously, just 1 year. So this is 1 year's worth of progress. So we do a macro and micro approach, and here it's just repeating patterns and contrast. The contrast between the building and the on the right and the building that you see predominantly in the image. So this is what we do. These are exercises, you guys. Can you make this type of photo? Can you make it well? And then we start to progress upwards from there. And this program is done all online. Now, if you're in the Detroit area, you know, I got a doozy for you because we are getting ready to go. I'm going to be doing Detroit once a month, literally on the ground, boots on the ground, Detroit once a month. That's what we're working on setting up right now. So I'll be in Detroit. We'll be doing photo walks. We'll be doing all kinds of stuff. Photo walks with strobes and models and photo walks. So it's coming, Detroit. Detroit is ground zero for us. It's ground zero for the conference, and we're going to own it. So that's what you can expect. All right. Here's another interesting image. I like this image because of the vagueness to it, you guys. It's vague. I know what was going on here, but if you didn't know what was going on here, you would just assume that these people were waiting for the queue line. But they're actually all photographers, and Sean Lee is photographing a model on the queue line train. But if you look at this image, you kind of get the impression that these are just people waiting on the queue line train. Maybe they're going to work. Maybe this is a stock photograph that the queue line needs because no one has them. Matter of fact, they don't want to pay. They don't have any money to pay for a full-on shoot. They just need some good imagery, and that's how you need to think about this. You see that? So this is a good time, if you're in Detroit, to be photographing the queue line so that you can provide these images to them and help promote. Because remember, this is you guys. Yep. This is you guys. This is Detroit. This is brand new. This is the bounce back. Do your part as a photographer. Now, here's another example of this. Okay, so anybody looking at this would naturally say, oh, the ground's a little hot, right? The sky's a little hot. I'm going to say this is the perfect image for a designer. Because watch this. Now, I'm not a designer. I'm definitely not a graphic artist, you guys. But what I want to do is I want to show you the possibility of this. And then you can use your imagination. It's like we just walked into a house and it needs to be fixed up a little bit. So, you know, let's fix it up. Here we go. Watch this. Watch this. Here's a possibility. Boom. Some designer sees this. The new queue line, and then they trick out the font. You know, the designers, they got all kind of little tricks up their sleeve. They trick it out, and watch this. This image is licensed, and it's making money now. Come on now. I don't even think you guys hear me. I don't even think you feel me. Shot intentionally like this so that we don't have to do any work, right? We don't have to do any work. The queue line moving forward, Detroit forward, tagline all day. Let's go. Come on, y'all. I put this on here in 5 minutes. Imagine what someone who professionally designs images could do with this. Yes. Imagine if you work this with people getting on here, tons of people getting on, because they said, you know what, there's a lot of people riding the queue line. I'm going to start riding the queue line. Imagine if they licensed this photo from you. Whew. You guys. How was the scope for you tonight? You guys, put in 7.7 if the scope worked for you tonight. if it empowered you, if it made you feel like I can do this, I'm going to get it done. 7.7, let's go. This is the kind of stuff we're going to do in the Bomb Squad community. I'm going to task you to work. If you're in my mentoring program, you're already doing that, right? That's just going to happen automatically. But we're going to start tasking you in the Bomb Squad community to step up. Step up and create imagery. Thank you for listening tonight. My name is Keith B. Dixon. I'm a commercial photographer. I specialize in corporate event photography, print on site, and you guys, I shoot large group photos on location constantly. I attribute my success to shooting large group photos on location. I attribute it to basically doing landscape photography and street photography, because you got to learn how to think quick and fast. You got to solve problems fast. This is how I've gotten there. Invest in yourself. Go out and shoot as much as possible when you can, preferably every week, and archive those images. Don't toss them away. Don't be defeating yourself because you don't see it. You're not the person editing the photos. You're in photographer mode. When you get to editor mode, you're going to see things differently. So this is how we rock. Thank you for listening. You guys, drop in ones and zeros. Ones and zeros if this scope is the one for you. Share it out on the broadcast. You can share it out after. If you're watching the replay right now, you can still share out the scope. And those of you who have followed me just recently, I want to thank you guys for following on Periscope. And you can also subscribe. Subscribe to everything, because you might decide you like YouTube too. Let's go. Keith B. Dixon. This is how I rock, you guys. This is the Kilo Bravo Delta Zone official. And I will see you guys tomorrow morning. Morning motivation off the top of the dome. Get ready, right? If you're driving in your car, go out and get another seatbelt made, because I might knock you out your seat tomorrow with this information I'm about to drop. Let's go. Keith B. Dixon official. See you in the morning. 7:35. Morning motivation off the top of the dome. Peace.